First of all, Savarkar talks about the two nations theory. He talks about the fate of the Jews in Sudan, how they did that in Germany, and so on. Then Gandhi is opposed to partition. That we know. Yeah. But they again give you misinformation. Because of him there was partition. How does that doesn't reconcile at all? He was not even in Delhi. He was
what?
Yeah.
You must realize.
Now, at the same time, they want Akhand Bharat. At the same time, second class citizens. So I feel that over these superficial statements, there is some agenda, and I want to know your opinion. It seems they want an Akhand Bharat but with second class citizens. So geographically, politically, huge and powerful, but within Hindu dominant or Hindu Rashtra or whatever.
It's not just Hindu dominant.
Yeah.
The Brahminical structure of society, where power is concentrated in the hands of the Brahmins, is what they want. That is what the entire campaign to discredit the constitution and replace it with Manusmriti is all about. And it has always been that agenda. It has never been camouflaged at all. They camouflage it as nationalism, but it is actually casteism that they want to be the dominant nature of their new India. And that is where they are leading us by all these subtle sociological experiments that they are carrying out. The beating of minorities, the persecution of Dalits. That video of the young man peeing on the face of the Adivasi Dalit boy. You see, the thing is that it doesn't only show the arrogance of the Brahmin, it also shows the complacence of the Adivasi, who sits calmly allowing that to happen, accepting that as his fate. That is the psychology that they want to instill into the society. And then the resident of the Brahmin community of Madhya Pradesh comes up with a statement saying he's a Brahmin, he has the right to do these things. And the state of India takes no cognizance of any of these things. Any of these hateful, criminal statements, let alone the action, the criminal statements. And that is where, they force us to continuously keep reacting to these things. This chain of events leading up to the teacher egging on her pupils to slap the Muslim boy in class, forced me finally to appeal to the Supreme Court, asking for redress, because although there is evidence of the teacher egging on the pupils to beat up their peer in classroom, the police have only registered a non-cognizable offence against them, which requires no action on the part of the police. And that is where I had to approach the Supreme Court, and I am fortunate, we are all fortunate that the Supreme Court acts according to its responsibilities, and they have served notices to the concerned departments asking for action taken reports and things. But just imagine, for such trivial things which should be automatic, the citizens have to approach the highest court in land to get the policemen to do their duty. This is and that has been questioned by so many people on social media. Who is Tushar Gandhi to do that? Why does he have to involve the Supreme Court of India in this matter? This is for a provincial court, magistrate to handle it. The fact is, it's not being done. That's why we are forced to approach and seek redress like this. This is a very deep-rooted conspiracy with a very, very dedicated cast of characters who continuously keep playing their role and forcing people like us to be occupied in countering them at each stage. And while their larger picture is crystallizing, our larger picture is slowly being obscured because we are so tied up in reacting to every irritant that they process. That is the conspiracy that we have to be very scared about, apprehensive about. Yes.
Did you ever try to reach out to the descendants of Savarkar and Godse?
Not willingly, but as a child I was forced to do that. Because my grandmother, on one of her trips back from South Africa, that was a time when Gopal Godse had been released from his life sentence and was settled in Pune. And my grandmother, who lived in South Africa, had come visiting us. And she told my father to organize a meeting with the Godse family because she wanted to go and convey that the Gandhi, descendants of Gandhi, were not holding any grudge or anger against them. And so I distinctly remember one weekend my father packed us all in the car and we drove to Pune and ended up at Gopal Godse's house and met him. And I was as a child, I was about, I think, 12 years old then. I was very perplexed as to why he had to do that. I couldn't understand that. And when I asked my grandmother, she said, no, that is what Babu will wanted. And we must not hold grudges. Until today, I can't understand why that needed to be done because there was no remorse from that side. So why was there this crying need to forgive? After that, there was a curious incident that happened. After that, on two occasions, Gopal and his wife visited our home in Santa Cruz because that was the time when the RSS had ostracized the Godse family and they were facing a social boycott. And they were in a very bad shape.
Why was that?
Because the RSS always does. They always disown the people who carry out their agenda and do the unsavory things that they want them to do. It's just like, with Ashish Nandi said that he was like the mafia boss who sent out the hitman and then disowned him. So that's what they
this
do.
documentary and throughout pictures see Gandhiji is always smiling, always benign and noble, and throughout the look on Savarkar's face and Godse's face is that of a strictness, bitterness, and this cannot come to terms with. So that I think I always, when I see this documentary or any documentary about Gandhi, I always wonder why would anyone want to hate a man like that. And then the thing comes that hate already exists. It is just being projected on Gandhi. First there is hate inside, and Gandhiji becomes the idol on whom I want to project that hate because I cannot imagine that kind of love within me. I mean, it's missing from my life entirely. The oppressor caste, typically, I have many friends who are pure Brahmins who, the way they are raised also is violent. The way they are raised since their childhood. It's not an emotionally healthy upbringing also. There is a lot of force, a lot of compulsion that is put in the name of religion that they have to do since their childhood. Probably that makes them resentful as they grow and then they cannot accept a living person or a living way of life.
Because,
Exactly.
so coming back to what you were saying, Gopal and his wife used to visit our home quite often. And after the Hindutva forces became dominant again, the Godse family became cherished. And the ritual of honoring Nathuram Godse started becoming an annual event in Pune. The shrine that we saw in Nathuram Godse, senior RSS and BJP leaders congregate over there on his Jayanti and Punyatithi as they call it, and commemorate it. And it has become now a huge public event. And as the Chief Minister of Gujarat, our current Prime Minister, also the chief guest at one of those commemorative functions. But at the time when they were discarded, they used to run to us for solace and things. But after they got back into the positive side, Gopal Godse started using those visits and things, and we didn't know that he was preserving photographs of our interactions with him, and he used to show them to people, showing, look, even the Gandhi descendants appreciated our act and accepted us. Later on, once it happened that Priya Tenutkar used to have that show called Priya Tenutkar show or something of that sort, and where she used to get people to come in and she would interview them. And she came to me and said, I want to do one program with you and Gopal. I said, okay, I'll come. So we went to her studio and the program was being shot. And at that time, there used to be chairs that were kept, and the lapel mics with wires were even put on every guest. And they were wrapped around the chair so that people would not walk off with the mic. And after the show got over, Gopal, who was an old frail man by that time, forgot that he was tied to the chair with the mic, and he tried to get up. And he lost his balance and was almost going to fall. And in a reflexive action, I was standing next to him. So I caught him and steadied him and ensured that he wouldn't fall, and supported him till he walked off the dais. And the entire press photographers were standing in front of us, and all of them took photographs of me supporting Gopal Godse. And the next day, in all the papers it was flashed, in the local papers it was flashed, that Gandhi's great grandson supports Nathuram's mother, kind of thing. And from that day onwards, Gopal Godse used to carry blow-ups of that photograph with the writer, saying, look, even the great grandson appreciates what we did to his great grandfather. And so, I don't still understand why we needed to forgive those kind of people. So yes, there have been interactions, and
Tushar, what is the logic behind moving the aspect of until India was in the cinema? And where is the possibility of Akhand Bharat? I mean, are they going to keep it for eternity or something?
yeah,
What they are
doing is, I'll give you an example. Justice Khosla, who was the judge, there is a system that the sentencing judge remains present at the execution. So Justice Khosla, who upheld the death sentence, was present at the
Pasi.
the Farsi at Ambala jail. The accused were the convicts were incarcerated in the Ambala jail, and during the time of their appeal in the High Court, the execution was carried out in the Ambala jail. They were cremated inside, all their ashes were collected in the jail, and the spot where it was done was plowed up, so nothing could be, even the spot could not be identified.
Wow.
The justice in his book writes, and in documents to the Kabul Commission, they write that in the middle of the night, 4 vehicles were dispatched outside going out of the prison because there was a huge crusade of Hindutva and RSS people keeping watch outside the prison who wanted to collect the ashes of Nathuram Godse and Apte to create a political statement. And the person accompanying the party, he said, 4 vehicles were dispatched in 4 directions as decoys. And when those gathered around the prison started chasing those vehicles, the 5th vehicle was sent out with the ashes. They went to the Ghaggar river in Punjab. And in secret, at a secret spot, they immersed all the ashes. So where these ashes came from is a mystery. But I don't dispute them. They might have chased the vehicle, they might have found the remains in the flow in the Gaga river and collected them and kept them. The reason they have been kept is because they say that all the rivers, because Bapu's ashes were immersed in most of the major rivers of India. So they say that all the rivers in India have been contaminated by Bapu's ashes. So the hero's ashes cannot be immersed in those rivers. To compound that, Pandit Nehru's ashes were sprinkled on the glaciers in the Himalaya as per his thing, which are the source of the major rivers. So as far as the Hindutva brigade goes, Indian rivers are impure. And so the ashes of the martyrs cannot be immersed in that. And so they say that when the Akhand Bharat happens, and there Akhand Bharat is not just India and Pakistan reunified. It is India, Pakistan, Nepal, Tibet, Afghanistan and Sri Lanka. All of it brought together as one. If they can have it even Khmer, because that was also a kingdom of Ashoka. So when all that comes together, they want, because Sindhu is the only river in which these two satanic people, according to them, their ashes have not contaminated.
But they don't seem to be working in that direction.
How can they do it? How is it even possible?
Because if that is
remember one thing. The day they immerse those ashes, they don't have any symbol to worship anymore. So why would they want to do that? Over here they have a shrine, they have a symbol. And the greatness of India is that even today, Bapu's idols are damaged. They shoot at Bapu's idol. But even in 50 years of Congress rule, the shrine they created to Nathuram has not once been desecrated or damaged. This is the greatness that we should all be proud about. That we do not follow the footsteps that they follow and the methods that they follow. Yeah. I think that is the greatest gift that Gandhi has given to this nation. Thank you very much. I think we